Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at AI and the future of software development. It's a pretty hot topic, and we've got some great source material to work with, including a really interesting interview with Mark Zuckerberg on the Joe Rogan podcast and some other headlines from the tech world. So yeah, we're going to try to answer this big question, will AI be writing most of our software soon? And what does that even mean for all of us?
Yeah, it's definitely not just, automating a few tasks here and there. It's like potentially like the whole foundation of how software is built and,
Yeah.
who builds it could be completely different.
Okay, so let's get into it. Zuckerberg, speaking to Joe Rogan, predicted that Meta would have AI that's capable of performing like a mid-level software engineer by 2025. I mean, that's pretty specific. And it's coming from the CEO of Meta, a company that's invested a ton in AI research.
Yeah, a bold statement for sure. I mean, it implies that AI is already, like on the path to tackling some serious coding tasks. And, the pace of advancement in this field is just incredible. It really makes you wonder, like, what does a mid-level AI engineer even look like? What kind of code will they be writing and how will they, like interact with human teams?
Yeah, I'm trying to picture an AI showing up at the daily stand-up meeting. It's a little wild to think about, ha. But okay, let's say Zuckerberg's right. And in a couple years, we have these AI engineers working alongside human engineers. What happens next? Does AI just keep getting better? And eventually, surpasses even the top human coders.
It's certainly a possibility, right? And it kind of leads to this fundamental question about the future of code itself. Zuckerberg even brought this up, like, will future code even be readable by humans? Could it become like something totally different?
Whoa, that's a mind-bending concept. Code that we can't even understand. But how would that even work? How could AI build software without using code that we can, interpret?
Well, think about it. Like, we're already seeing AI create art and music that we, could never have imagined. It's not a stretch to think code could kind of follow a similar path, right? We might be moving toward a situation where AI is writing code like on demand, like a unique creation for each specific task.
So instead of having these giant databases and traditional software architectures, we'd have AI just generating everything from scratch in real time.
Exactly. Imagine like requesting a specific function from an AI, and it just instantly builds the code, the interface, everything you need, completely tailored to like what you requested.
Hold on, for those of us who aren't deep in the software world, what are we talking about here? How is this different from how software is built now?
Right. So right now, most software relies on these massive databases. Think of it like giant libraries filled with, information organized in rows and columns. And then you have like the UI layer, the part of the software that you actually see and interact with, the buttons, the menus, all that stuff. AI could potentially like throw all of that out the window.
So no more like rigid databases or pre-designed interfaces. It all just gets generated on the fly by AI.
Yeah, that's like one possible scenario.
Yeah.
And it kind of ties into Zuckerberg's overall vision, which,
Yeah.
not surprisingly, is pretty optimistic. He sees AI as this tool to like liberate humans from the more tedious and repetitive parts of coding, allowing us to focus on, higher level creative and strategic work.
Yeah, it's a compelling vision for sure. But let's be real. If software engineers suddenly become 10, 100, even 1,000 times more productive thanks to AI, does that mean they'll be taking long vacations or just like churning out vastly more code?
That's a really crucial question. And Zuckerberg actually highlighted a really interesting economic concept. Cheaper and more efficient technology often leads to increased use and demand, not less. Like think about the agricultural revolution. Technology boosted productivity massively, but it didn't mean that we all just suddenly started working, fewer hours.
Right, so more AI-powered coding could just lead to like an explosion of new software and applications, which, could be incredible, but also maybe a little overwhelming, right?
Absolutely. And that kind of brings us to this point that's been making headlines lately, the potential for AI to disrupt the job market. It's kind of the elephant in the room whenever we talk about AI and the future of work.
Exactly. You can't really have a conversation about AI without acknowledging that potential for job displacement. And we actually have a pretty stark example of that coming from another tech giant, Salesforce. Their CEO, Mark Benioff, recently stated that they won't be hiring software engineers in 2025 because of the anticipated productivity gains from AI.
Wow. That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
And it really presents like a stark contrast to Zuckerberg's optimistic vision. Highlights the reality that the transition to an AI-powered workforce is likely to be, messy and unpredictable.
Yeah, and it's almost ironic, right? Salesforce is hiring more human salespeople to sell the AI that might displace other
It
workers.
is, and it really underscores just how complex and rapidly evolving this landscape is. No one has a crystal ball, but, it's pretty clear that some major changes are coming to the software industry.
So for our listeners who are hearing all of this and thinking, okay, this is fascinating, but what does it actually mean for me?
Hmm.
What should people be doing to prepare for this potential AI-powered future?
Well, one recommendation that stood out from our research was to start experimenting with existing AI coding tools. There are platforms like Cursor and Pythagora that are already out there. And, getting hands-on experience with these tools is a great place to start.
Yeah, get ahead of the curve, right? Learn how to work with these tools because AI is only going to become more integrated into software development. But we'll dive deeper into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Exactly. We've got a lot more to unpack. Picking up where we left off with this idea of experimenting with these AI coding tools, it's not just about learning the technical ropes. It's more about understanding how to collaborate effectively with AI, like to see it as a partner in the development process.
So instead of worrying that AI is going to replace us, we should be thinking about how to team up with it to become even better at what we do.
Exactly. Think about it like if AI can handle those more routine tasks, like writing boilerplate code or debugging, that frees us up to focus on the bigger picture,
Hmm.
the creative problem solving, the user experience, the strategy behind the software.
Yeah, it's like having a superpowered assistant,
Yeah,
taking care of the grunt work so you can focus on that higher level stuff.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
a great way to put it. But it also, kind of highlights the need for us to constantly adapt and learn. The skills that are going to be most valuable in this new world, they might not even exist yet, right?
So it's not just about learning to code, it's about learning how to learn. It's about being flexible, adaptable, always willing to pick up new skills and embrace new
Yeah,
technologies.
precisely. And I think this shift towards AI could have a ripple effect across so many different industries. It's
Mm.
not just software development.
That's a great point. It's not just coders who need to be thinking about this. I mean, look at what Salesforce is doing. Hiring more salespeople, even as they cut back on engineers, it kind of suggests that certain uniquely human skills are going to become even more valuable in an AI-powered world.
Absolutely. Think about the qualities that make a great salesperson. Empathy, communication, the ability to build relationships, to persuade, to negotiate. Those are skills that are hard to automate, and they're going to be in high demand as AI takes on more of those technical tasks.
So it's not just about learning to code, it's about honing those human skills that kind of set us apart from machines. The ability to connect with other people, to understand their needs, to think creatively, and solve problems in a uniquely human way.
Exactly. And to circle back to Zuckerberg's point about the agricultural revolution, it wasn't just about the technology itself. It was about the societal shifts that came with it. We saw the rise of new industries, new jobs, new ways of life.
So the question isn't just will AI replace us? It's how will AI reshape the world and how can we adapt and thrive in that new world?
Hmm.
It's a bit daunting, but also incredibly exciting.
Yeah, it is. And it requires us to think critically about the ethical implications of these powerful new technologies. We need to make sure that, the benefits of AI are shared broadly and that we don't create a future where like a small elite controls all the power while everyone else is left behind.
That's a really important point. We've got to be having these conversations now, thinking about how we want to shape this AI-powered future. But let's shift gears for a moment
Hmm?
and talk about something a little more concrete. Remember Zuckerberg's prediction that the first billion-dollar company run by a single person powered by AI is just around the corner. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a bold prediction for sure,
Right.
but I think it highlights the incredible potential of AI to amplify human capabilities. Like if one person, armed with the right AI tools, can create and manage a company worth billions, it kind of suggests a future where entrepreneurship is accessible to anyone with a great idea and the willingness to, embrace the power of AI.
So it's not just about big corporations like Meta and Salesforce. AI could level the playing field,
Right.
enabling individuals to compete with these established giants. It's almost like the Wild West of the digital age, right?
Exactly. And that brings us back to the question we posed earlier, like what unique human skills
Yeah.
would be most valuable in this new world?
If anyone can start a billion-dollar company with the help of AI, what will set those successful entrepreneurs apart? What will make them stand out from the crowd?
Well, I think it goes beyond just technical skills. We're talking about vision leadership, the ability to inspire and motivate others to build a strong team and navigate the complexities of the marketplace.
So it's not just about being a coding whiz. It's about being a creative thinker, a strategic planner, a communicator, a leader. It's about those intangible human qualities that are hard to define, but you know them when you see them.
Absolutely. And I think it leads us to another crucial question. How will education and training need to evolve to prepare people for this future? It's not just about teaching people how to code. It's about fostering those human skills that will be even more essential as AI becomes more sophisticated.
So it's not just about STEM education, it's about STEAM, adding that A for art and design for creativity and critical thinking.
Exactly. We need to be thinking about education in a more holistic way, equipping people with the skills they need to thrive in a world where AI is like a constant companion and collaborator. And that kind of brings us to another important aspect of this discussion, the potential downsides of AI. We've talked about the job displacement and the ethical concerns, but there's also the potential for AI to be misused, to create or exacerbate existing inequalities, to be used for purposes that are harmful or unethical.
It's like any powerful tool. It can be used for good or for bad. And as AI becomes more powerful, we need to be thinking carefully about the guardrails we need to put in place, the ethical principles that should guide its development and deployment.
Absolutely. We need to have those conversations now before it's too late.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that AI is not some alien force. It's a technology that we are creating. And it's up to us to shape its development and ensure that it's used for the benefit of humanity.
It's a bit like standing at a crossroads, We have the potential to create a future where AI empowers us to solve some of the world's most pressing problems, to live healthier, happier, more fulfilling lives. But we also have the potential to create a future where AI exacerbates existing inequalities, creates new forms of injustice, and ultimately undermines our humanity.
Yeah. It's a choice that we all have to make,
Yeah.
individually and collectively. And it starts with being informed, engaging in these conversations, and demanding that AI is developed and used responsibly.
Well said. But for our listeners who are maybe feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this, where should they start? What are some concrete steps they can take to prepare for this AI-powered future? We'll explore those questions in the final part of our deep dive. Okay, so we've talked a lot about, like these big ideas about AI and where things are headed. But for our listeners who are thinking like, all right, what can I actually do to prepare for all this? What are some concrete steps they can take?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to just stay curious and keep learning.
Yeah.
This isn't a one-time thing where you learn a new skill and you're good to go. The world of AI is constantly evolving, so you got to be adaptable and willing to learn new things throughout your career.
Yeah, it's kind of like learning a new language, right? You don't just memorize a few phrases and call it a day. You have to really immerse yourself in the language practice regularly and be open to, new vocabulary and grammar as it evolves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with AI, there are so many resources available. You've got online courses, tutorials, articles, communities where you can connect with other people who are also learning and experimenting.
And don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Actually experiment with these different AI coding tools, see what's out there, play around with them, and get a feel for how they work.
Yeah, that's a great point. You don't need to be an expert in AI to start experimenting. They're tools that are designed for beginners.
Yeah.
And plenty of resources to help you kind of get started.
And I think it's important to remember that this isn't just about technical skills. It's also about cultivating those uniquely human qualities that we've been talking about.
Right.
Things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, the ability to communicate effectively and build relationships. Those skills are going to be even more valuable in an AI-powered world.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, AI is just a tool. It's up to us to decide how we use it and to ensure that it's used for good.
That's a great reminder. And it brings us back to that final thought-provoking question. If AI could write most of our software, what truly unique human skills would become even more valuable in the future?
Yeah. It's a question that we all need to be asking ourselves.
Yeah.
Because the answer is not just going to shape the future of software development, but also, the future of work itself.
And it challenges us to think beyond just acquiring technical skills and to really cultivate those essential human qualities that are going to set us apart from machines in this increasingly automated world.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you, our listeners, to continue exploring this topic. Experiment with AI tools, engage in conversations about the, ethical implications of all this, and think critically about how you can prepare for the future that lies ahead.
It's an exciting future. And it's a little bit daunting, But the future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we actively shape through our choices, our actions, our willingness to embrace the possibilities that are out there.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and software development. We'll be back next time with another fascinating topic and, a fresh set of insights. Until then, keep questioning and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.